Okay, so today we're talking. Welcome to Hacking Self Storage podcast, by the way, Store Nation. So today we are talking how to maximize the value of your self storage when you're selling. So, as many of you know, and this is just one way to maximize it. And so many people I've been speaking to this week, in this last week, just aren't doing this and not seeing the value in it whatsoever. So let's start from the beginning. As many people will know who listen to this podcast, I have been sending out letters, over 2,000 letters to every single self storage owner in the country. And I have been having so many calls. I've got a little book here that's got every single detail in. Obviously, it's all it's confidential, etc. So I would never ever talk about any of the information for what anybody gives me, because obviously, why would I? It's confidential. Okay, so what surprised me this week is Lease. The lease length of self-storage owners. So yes, there's freehold and there's leasehold. And so many self-storage owners are snookering themselves by only having a small lease. Now, if you're thinking about selling, I shouldn't be saying this because it's not actually helping me, but if you're thinking about selling, then you have to really get a long-term lease. Because if I'm looking at buying your self-storage facility and you've only got 2 years lease, then your self-storage facility cannot be worth 2 times multiple. Because yes, the chances are that the lease will be renewed, but there's no guarantees. There's no guarantees whatsoever. That lease could be taken away from you. So therefore, it cannot be valued at more. It can't be valued at 2 times multiple. It can't be valued at that. And obviously, we want more than 2 times multiple. And you've also got to be careful of break clauses as well. Please, please, please do not allow your landlord to put a 6-month break clause in for them. You by all means have a break clause yourself. We have long leases. We have 30-year lease. We've got one 29-year lease at the minute and 2 19-year leases. And then we've got one 20-year lease when we're going to sign it eventually, anytime now. And there's a break clause in it, but it's only for me. There's a break clause in every 5 years for me. And that's great, but don't give the landlord a break clause. So many people I've been discussing have a 6 months break clause. So at any point in that lease, the landlord can say, by the way, I'm sorry, it's 6 months. I'm going to give you notice. And so therefore the business is worth absolutely nothing. You're building up this business, but that lease, that little small part of the contract, that break clause, means your business is worth nothing. A 6-month break clause for them. So all of a sudden, you are only guaranteed the next 6 months. So please, if you have got that lease, that break clause in your lease, then have a conversation with your landlord. If you are looking, and by the way, if you're not looking to sell, even if you're not looking to sell, you shouldn't have that, because there's no stability there. There's no security. And so please get that agreement out. And also extend your lease as long as possible. Now, yes, I understand the stamp duty to pay potentially, and I also understand that it's a risk. You are taking a risk because you're signing a long lease. However, I can't promise you. In my judgment, it is worth it, because the value, not just the value it gives you for the business, but it also gives you stability, predictable income for the next so many years. And that has got to be worth it. And I'm having conversations this week, and somebody's got a 3-year lease, and they want 7 times multiple. I'm like, well, you can't have, you don't get 7 times multiple anyway in self-storage for these small company for just one independent. It just doesn't happen. Even if you've got a 20-year lease, 30-year lease, it just doesn't happen. But also, you've got a small lease. You're asking for a valuation that goes past the lease. And he goes, oh yeah, but it's okay because we've had this lease for 20 years or whatever. Yeah, but that's irrelevant. Just because of the past, it doesn't mean that it's going to be the future. I'm happy to sit down and discuss a multiple if you've got a long lease. And you've just got to be so careful. That's what I'm trying to get across here, that if you have got a small lease, then please understand and know that your valuation is going to be decreased because of that small lease. Even if you've got the rights, etc., it's still not guaranteed. As you know, with my landlord was trying to get me out of a Beverly site. Luckily, fortunately, whatever, it didn't materialize, and we signed a long lease. But it can happen to you. It can happen where the landlord wants you out, or he could potentially want to take over the self-storage and have self-storage on that and operate it himself. There is ways and means that people can get people out of leases. So I'd just be very, very careful. So the message here is twofold. Be very, very careful with break clauses. And number two, please get a long lease. It just protects you for the future. And also, self-storage is such a great business model that anybody listening to this right now, I would suggest that high 95% of people listening to this, their self-storage business is successful and will continue to be successful. It's just a great industry, but we need to protect ourselves. And that's coming from somebody who wants to buy your self-storage. Obviously, I'd rather you have a 2-year lease and only give you a 1x multiple. It'd be great, because then hopefully I can extend it. And even if I can't, it doesn't, 1x multiple, I can accept that risk. But there's an element of risk there. That's why the valuation won't be as big as you will like. So please extend the lease as big and as far in the future as possible, 20, 30 years, and it gives you some breathing room and you've got stability there. And when people like me come and want to buy self-storage, then you can say, I want more multiple than I would do if I have a 2-year lease. Hope that makes sense to you. I think it's really, really important. And so many people clearly have overlooked this. And just for my own peace of mind as well, I love the fact I've got a 20-year lease, 2 20s and a 30-year lease. Well, we're into 29 years and 19 years. But it just gives me predictable stability of the business for a number of years. Right, so that's it, my friends. I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you on Friday. And then next week, I've got some really good episodes that I want to get into. Somebody just reminded me of something, and I was like, yeah, do you know what? I need to reinforce this message massively. All right, love you. Bye-bye.